Snark Squad, babes. It's Tuesday evening. And babes, the narcissist moms, back on our screens.
They are back. And the wine is already here and poured.
Because, babes, how else do you manage this chaos?
You literally don't. You can't.
You can't. And yes, we are spiraling. We need to say this right up front, honestly. This show is somehow becoming our comfort show.
Which is, frankly, a little disturbing.
It is. Like, babes, we are dentists. We are professional women in our 30s. And every time we watch this, we get, like, flashbacks.
Massive flashbacks.
To our own narcissist mothers.
Yeah.
Pause. Because why do they remind us of Amber so much?
I mean, because it is literally a masterclass in enmeshment playing out in, like, high definition.
Yes.
Like, imagine being a legal adult, but your mother still negotiates your living arrangements with your girlfriend's parents.
Oh, my God. I would die.
Right. It sounds like a bizarre sitcom trope, but in the Johnston household, it's just, a Tuesday.
A casual Tuesday.
Exactly. And that is the psychological hook of this entire franchise. We watch Amber operate, and if you grew up with a mother who had to, like, control the narrative, the environment, the clothes on your back...
Your nervous system just recognizes it.
Instantly.
Yeah.
It's like enmeshment is essentially like a psychological thermostat. Amber doesn't just want the house to be a comfortable temperature. She has this, like, pathological need to be the absolute only person whose hand is allowed on the dial.
Wow.
And if anyone else even touches the dial, it is perceived as an act of, like, profound betrayal.
Oh my gosh, the thermostat metaphor. That is exactly it. I am instantly 12 years old again, just standing in my kitchen, wondering if I loaded the dishwasher the exact hyper-specific way my mother demanded.
Because if the spoon was facing the wrong way...
It wasn't just a mistake, it was like an indictment of my character, and the entire evening was completely ruined.
Oh, 100%.
That is the exact energy radiating off the screen. And seriously, cheers.
Cheers.
To anyone listening who has endured the chaos. Babes, the string. It's for all of us. Seriously, cheers to you guys. Like, if you are sitting at home right now, folding your laundry or commuting from work, pouring your own glass of Pinot to decompress from your own family drama, we see you.
We are you.
We are you, and we're going to unpack this all together tonight.
And we have so much to unpack. Like, we need to talk about something right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Because I am fired up.
Let's hear it.
Let's talk about the kids. Emma and Alex. Why the fuck were they not forced to go away for college the way Anna was? Make it make sense.
The hypocrisy is...
It's giving me whiplash.
It is the deepest end of the hypocrisy pool. Like, we need to look at the pattern historically.
Please.
Let's trace this back. When Anna was college-bound, what was the prevailing narrative pushed by Trent and Amber? It was this relentless, almost aggressive campaign of, we raise our kids to be independent.
Oh, yeah, independent.
Right. The party line was, we want the world to see that although they are little people, they are capable adults who go out and conquer the world.
And Amber was ruthless about Anna leaving. She was practically holding the door open and pushing her through it under the guise of, like, tough love.
Ruthless is the perfect word. She was packing Anna's bags and basically shoving her into the street. It was this intense, aggressive push. You have to leave. You have to grow up. You have to find yourself.
Yep.
And here's the kicker. Anna didn't even want to go.
No, she didn't.
She was terrified. She was a teenager dealing with massive anxiety, asking for a little bit of grace, and she was forced out. Now, cut to the present day. Look at the golden children. Look at Emma and Alex.
Oh, it's wild.
They are taking online classes from their childhood bedrooms, living at home, not a peep about conquering the world.
Exactly. And let's break down the psychology of the golden child versus the scapegoat, because that is exactly what we are witnessing.
Break it down.
In a highly enmeshed, narcissistic family system, roles are assigned super early. Anna was assigned the role of the scapegoat. Her natural inclination to push back, to have her own thoughts, made her a threat to Amber's thermostat. So her independence was weaponized against her. She was exiled under the guise of building character.
Wow, yeah.
But Emma and Alex, they are compliant. They do not touch the thermostat. Therefore, they are rewarded with the golden child treatment, which in this family means total infantilization.
Infantilization, yes. They are completely insulated from the real world. And the fans on Reddit have theories about this that I think are just spot on.
Oh, the cash cow theory.
Yes. Let's talk about the cash cow theory, because if Emma and Alex pack up and leave for Ohio or wherever, what happens to the show?
The show literally evaporates. You cannot have a reality television show centered around a big bustling family if the house is empty.
Exactly.
Trent and Amber are empty nesters in reality, but they cannot afford to be empty nesters on TLC. So the grand narrative of independence magically vanishes the second it threatens the production schedule.
And the paycheck.
And the paycheck. Emma and Alex are highly incentivized to stay stunted.
It is a transaction, and it is so toxic. Like, Emma is basically trapped in that house to be the unpaid on-call nanny for Liz's baby, Leighton.
Oh, completely.
Think about it. Liz is ostensibly out of the house, but she's practically living there with how much she relies on the family. Jonah is running around the woods in an inflatable beer suit getting shot with paintballs.
Don't even get me started on Jonah.
So Emma and Alex become these perfectly sheltered, compliant robots with zero opinions of their own, just waiting for Amber to give them their daily instructions.
And look at Alex specifically. He has a girlfriend, Allie, who lives in Ohio.
Right.
A normal developmental step for a young man in his late teens or early 20s would be to, look at colleges near her, move out, experience a different state, learn how to budget for groceries.
Live a little.
Exactly. Be closer to his partner. Instead, what happens? Amber literally steps in and has a sit-down conversation with Allie's parents about them, quote, taking him in. She is negotiating the terms of her adult son's existence as if he is a helpless toddler being dropped off at daycare.
I physically cringed during that scene. She treats an adult college student like an infant. It is so embarrassing for him.
So embarrassing.
But he just accepts it, and it makes me so profoundly sad for them. Because let's get personal for a second. Let's talk about our own experiences.
Let's do it.
Because going away to college was completely life-changing for both of us. It was the ultimate escape hatch from this exact type of dynamic.
It really is a critical developmental milestone.
Yeah.
Psychologically, your late teens and early 20s are when you individuate.
Yes.
You were supposed to separate your identity from your parents.
Yeah.
When I left university, it was the first time I could actually hear my own thoughts without a running commentary in the background telling me why those thoughts were, incorrect or inefficient.
Yes. We went completely across the country, different universities, totally different vibes, but the exact same mission: get away from the narcissist moms.
Exactly.
We were out there learning French, we were taking Spanish classes, we were partying, making terrible decisions, and actually living. We were figuring out who we actually were outside of the shadow of our mother's expectations.
I remember my first week in my dorm so vividly. It was chaotic. I didn't know a single soul.
It's terrifying at first.
It is. But the sheer silence in my room when I woke up on a Saturday morning, the profound realization that nobody was going to burst through the door and critique the way my blanket was folded.
Oh, the relief.
It was intoxicating. I took Spanish literature. I joined study groups that inevitably turned into 2 a.m. diner runs for cheese fries, and I learned how to advocate for myself.
Yes.
The biggest lesson for me was realizing that the world wasn't this terrifying, hyper-judgmental place my mother had painted it to be.
Wow.
The world was actually incredibly vast, and people were remarkably forgiving of mistakes.
That is exactly it. My biggest lesson was realizing that my mistakes didn't equate to a moral failing. If I failed a quiz, or if I accidentally washed a red sweater with my white laundry and dyed everything pink, I didn't have to endure a 3-hour psychological teardown about my character flaws.
You didn't have to grovel?
No. I could just walk to the campus store and buy new socks. The freedom to just be an idiot 19-year-old was amazing. I remember navigating that early 20s delusion so hard.
Oh, God.
There was a semester where I decided I was going to be completely fluent in French, and I started wearing berets to my morning classes.
Oh, you didn't? Please tell me you have photos.
I have destroyed all the evidence, that guy.
Tragically.
But the funniest, most chaotic moment for me was showing up to this French conversation mixer at the student union. It was like 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was coming from my tiny, overpriced apartment, and my roommates and I had already split 2 bottles of extremely cheap wine.
$2 wine, the best kind.
Exactly. And I showed up to this mixer completely wine-fueled, aggressively trying to debate existentialism in broken, slurred French with actual exchange students.
Oh, my.
I sounded insane. I was making an absolute fool of myself. But I was so free. I was making my own messy stories.
And you need those messy stories. Those chaotic apartment nights are the building blocks of your adult personality.
100%.
You learn your limits. You learn how to read a room. You learn how to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
Emma and Alex are being robbed of their messy nights.
Rob.
They are never going to have a story about getting locked out of a dorm at 2 a.m. in pajamas and having to charm a campus security guard to let them back in.
No.
They're just sitting on the couch in the Johnston living room, waiting for Amber to tell them what their next approved hobby should be.
They are being robbed of their 20s. Okay, before we dive into the actual episode recap, let's do a quick real-world check. Dentist diaries.
Let's do it.
Rose and thorn from our practices today.
Yeah.
Because we are out here living real professional adult lives outside of this reality TV spiral. And honestly, the parallels between patient behavior and reality TV behavior are sometimes too good to ignore.
They absolutely are. You go first.
Yeah.
What was the vibe at your practice today?
Okay, my Rose. I have a patient who has been absolutely terrified of the dentist for years, like severe dental trauma from childhood.
That's so common.
Shaking in the chair, crying before we even put the bib on. We've been working together for months, taking it incredibly slow. Today, we finally finished a major anterior bridge that she's needed for a decade.
Oh, wow.
I handed her the mirror, and she looked at her new smile and just started sobbing happy tears. She threw her arms around me and hugged me. It was everything.
That is beautiful.
It totally validates why I went through the absolute brutal gauntlet of dental school. So that was my Rose.
A trust is so hard to build. What was the thorn?
The thorn was my afternoon block. I had a grown man, probably in his 50s, bite me.
Stop it. Did he break the glove? Did you have to do the protocol?
Thankfully, he didn't break the glove, but the sheer, unadulterated disrespect of it.
Unbelievable.
He was annoyed that I kept asking him to open wider for molar access. I literally said, "Sir, I cannot do a root canal through your nostril. I need you to open your mouth." And instead of communicating, he just clamped down on my fingers.
People are wild.
I swear, people lose all their coping mechanisms and social skills the minute they sit in that chair. They regress to toddlers.
It was pure regression. The dental chair removes their sense of control, and when people feel they have no control, they lash out.
Exactly.
Which is actually a perfect segue into my thorn, which is entirely related to entitlement.
Let's hear it.
I had a patient today who stood up in the waiting room and complained loudly to an audience of strangers that they had been waiting for 15 minutes.
15 minutes? Are you joking?
15 minutes. Meanwhile, the reason I was running behind is because I was in the back squeezing in an emergency extraction for a teenager who was in agonizing weeping pain from an abscess.
Ugh, the absolute lack of empathy.
The staggering entitlement of thinking your routine cleaning supersedes someone else's medical emergency. It exhausts me.
It's draining. What was your Rose to balance that out?
My Rose was honestly the office culture. One of our lead hygienists brought in this massive homemade lasagna for lunch.
Oh, yes.
For about 20 minutes, the entire staff, dentists, assistants, front desk, just sat in the break room eating dense carbs and complaining about our significant others.
A dream.
It was the therapeutic trauma bonding session I desperately needed to get through the afternoon. Lasagna heals.
Lasagna is the ultimate bonding food. I love that so much. And speaking of good vibes and healing energy, Snark Squad, for anyone watching a video version of the show right now, yes.
Yes.
We have completely overhauled the studio.
It's gorgeous.
We are filling the space with spring decor, and it is so incredibly good.
It feels like a completely different space. The psychological shift when you change your environment is real.
We desperately needed a shift in energy to combat the toxic waste dump that is this season of TLC chaos. We brought in these gorgeous pastel throw pillows, lots of fresh, calming sage green.
A peony.
Yes, the massive blooming peonies on the back table. It just feels light. It feels fresh. When we sit down to talk about Amber and Trent, we need to be surrounded by literal spring sunshine and floral prints so we don't completely lose our minds.
It's psychological armor. We are wrapping ourselves in pastel colors to protect our peace while we analyze Liz's wedding planning. Because diving into this family's dynamics without a safety net of good vibes is dangerous.
Exactly. And let's get right into it, because this recap is a massive narrative mission. We are going to give you a completely unhinged, highly detailed breakdown of the latest episode. Plus, we have to talk about Liz's recent bombshell YouTube interview.
There's so much shade to throw.
So many layers of dysfunction to peel back. I don't even know where to stretch my arms first. Let's start with the Bachelorette disaster.
Let's call it what it functionally was.
Yeah.
A dry, joyless, hostage situation masquerading as a bridal luncheon.
A hostage situation. First of all, the premise alone is weird. Who plans and hosts their own bachelorette party?
Nobody normal.
Usually, your bridesmaids or your sister throws it for you. But Liz is sitting there running the show, dictating the schedule, and the energy is just so incredibly awkward.
Super tense.
But the absolute worst part, the part that made me scream at my television, was Amber. Amber bought a stripper for Liz.
And we are putting stripper in massive air quotes.
Massive, bold air quotes, because it was a guy dressed as a police officer who basically just shuffled around awkwardly and sang a song.
The cringe factor was physically painful.
Painful.
But let's look past the cringe and do an analytical breakdown of why this specific moment is so deeply toxic.
Noise.
It isn't just about a lame party trick. Liz specifically, explicitly made it clear to her mother prior to the event, please, no stripper, do not get a stripper.
She said it.
She set a clear, unambiguous boundary about her own celebration. What does a highly controlling and meshed parent do when presented with a boundary?
They stomp on it.
They view it as a direct challenge to their authority. Amber hires this guy anyway, and her stated logic on camera is basically, well, I just hope she isn't too mad.
Why? That is what I do not understand. Why would a mother ignore the bride's explicit request just to cross her fingers and hope her daughter isn't furious? What is the psychological payoff there?
The payoff is control. It is a concept called performative benevolence.
Oh, wow.
It's a power move dressed up as a fun surprise. Amber has a compulsive need to be the one dictating the emotional experience of the room.
Right.
Think about it. If Liz says no stripper, and they don't have one, Liz is in control of the party's narrative. Her boundary was respected.
That makes so much sense.
If Amber brings one anyway, Amber has wrestled control back.
Sure.
She is forcing Liz to react to her decision. It's malicious compliance mixed with boundary stomping.
Okay, I have to jump in here because I agree with you about Amber, but I need to push back on Liz's innocence in this dynamic.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yes, Amber crossed a line. But Liz just sat there. She just let it happen, completely dismissive of how uncomfortable everyone else in the room was. Did you see Brice's mother?
Oh, I did. Brice's mother looked like she was actively praying for the floorboards to open up and swallow her into the earth's crust.
She looked horrified. Her internal dialogue was screaming, "What kind of circus family is my son marrying into?"
Totally.
It was so lame, so boring, and suddenly there's a guy in a cheap cop uniform thrusting near the cucumber tea sandwiches. And Amber did this in front of Liz's little sister, too.
The sheer disrespect.
The sheer disrespect to the entire room is staggering. Liz didn't shut it down to protect her guests. She just sat there and absorbed it. It's a generational curse happening in real time.
It really is. Liz is not just a victim of Amber. She is becoming a mini Amber.
Yes.
We are watching the metamorphosis happen before our very eyes.
Yeah.
She has learned that whoever makes the rules wins. Which brings us perfectly to the dance lesson.
Oh my gosh, the dance lesson.
Because if you want to see Liz embodying her mother's traits, look no further than how she treats Brice on a dance floor.
Pray for Brice. Literally, everyone listening, light a candle for this man right now.
I have never seen a young man look so thoroughly existentially defeated. The light has completely left his eyes.
I was yelling at my screen during this segment. Liz was so incredibly insufferable during this dance lesson.
Beyond insufferable.
They are in this studio trying to learn a simple routine for their first dance. And Liz could not, for one single solitary second, admit that she needed practice.
Nope.
Every single time she stepped on his foot, every time they lost the rhythm, she immediately stopped, turned around, and blamed Brice. She's berating him in front of a professional dance instructor.
Her insecurity in that moment is deafening.
Yeah.
Let's analyze the defense mechanism here.
Let's do it.
A secure person, someone who is comfortable in their own skin, can laugh when they mess up. They can say to their partner, wow, I have 2 left feet today. Let's try that box step again.
Right. Normal behavior.
Exactly. But an insecure person, especially one raised by an Amber, has a fundamentally fragile ego. They have to immediately deflect blame so they don't look foolish.
Because looking foolish means getting roasted.
Because in their childhood, looking foolish meant being ridiculed. Liz physically cannot handle the idea that she isn't naturally perfect at ballroom dancing. So she projects all of that incompetence onto Brice.
And Brice is just taking it. He looks exhausted. His shoulders are slumped. He is completely over her crap.
Completely over it.
She is actively emasculating him on national television, treating him like a toddler who can't follow basic direction.
But did you catch the specific moment of rebellion?
Yeah.
It was subtle, but it was the most telling line of the entire episode.
Which one?
Brice essentially calls her out on camera. He admits out loud that he doesn't answer her phone calls because he knows she's just calling to, quote, yell at him.
Yes, my jaw hit the floor. He said it right out loud to the camera.
He literally said it.
He ignores his own fiance's phone calls because he knows it's just going to be verbal abuse on the other end. That is not a partnership. That is a dictatorship.
It is deeply unhealthy.
But, Jay, I mean, I have to challenge you on this. We give Brice a lot of sympathy. We talk about his dead eyes and his slumped shoulders. But isn't he complicit?
That is a very fair pushback.
He is a grown man. Is he only staying for the kids at this point? Where does his responsibility begin?
At a certain point, passive survival mode becomes active complicity. I truly believe he is staying primarily because of their daughter, Leighton.
You think?
I do. You can see the difference in his body language. When he is holding that little girl, he lights up. He looks like a happy, engaged, capable father.
That's true.
The second he turns his attention back to Liz, his posture drops. His face goes completely blank. He is doing the brutal math in his head.
The brutal math.
He's a simple blue-collar country guy who got swept up into this reality TV tornado, got his girlfriend pregnant, and now his Southern upbringing is telling him he is duty-bound to stay and marry her.
What?
But you are right. He is choosing to stay in a dynamic where resentment is the baseline emotion.
The resentment is building, and it is going to boil over. And honestly, it almost did during the tux fitting. We have to talk about the camo incident because it made me furious.
Let's unpack the sheer, unadulterated elitism of Liz for a moment. Brice is a typical salt-of-the-earth Georgia boy.
Yes, he is.
He hunts, he fishes, his entire lifestyle revolves around the outdoors. He loves camouflage. So for his wedding day, he makes a very simple request. He wants to wear a camo vest under his tuxedo jacket.
So simple.
A small, personal touch to make him feel comfortable and represented on his own wedding day. What is Liz's response?
We don't do camo. We want to keep it classy. We aren't rednecks. I was enraged.
It's so dismissive.
I was so fired up, I had to pause the TV and walk around my living room.
Brice is a country boy. That is who he is. Why did you date and marry a guy if you hate absolutely everything he likes and represents?
It makes no sense. If you want a guy in a velvet smoking jacket who spends his weekends at the country club discussing golf handicaps, go find that guy. Don't marry Brice and then try to systematically strip away his entire cultural identity.
It's the ultimate, I love you, now change absolutely everything about yourself trope.
Exactly.
She bucketed his entire culture, his entire personality, as redneck and therefore inherently beneath her. She thinks she is ascending to some high society status by curating this aggressively beige wedding, but she's just being a snob.
A total snob.
And more dangerously, she is isolating him from himself. It is a deeply ingrained pattern in that family. Look at Trent and Amber. Have you ever noticed that whatever the men say, the wives immediately correct it?
Constantly. Trent will have a thought about how to fix a car or build a shed, and Amber immediately jumps in to tell him why it's a stupid idea and how she knows a better way.
Every single time.
Liz is doing the exact same thing to Brice. The fun-sucking is genetic.
It is genetic fun-sucking. The men in that family are treated as props in the women's perfectly curated, highly controlling lives. They are allowed to exist as long as they follow the script.
God, that's bleak.
Which brings us to the most delusional, hypocritical part of the wedding planning. The groomsman cake.
Oh my gosh, the cake. Please explain the cultural context of this to the listeners, because I know people from outside the South were very confused by this subplot.
Gladly. A groom's cake is a massive, deeply ingrained Southern tradition. If you've ever seen the movie Steel Magnolias, think of the famous bleeding armadillo cake.
Iconic.
The tradition dictates that while the bride controls the massive, formal, tiered wedding cake, the groom gets his own separate cake that reflects his hobbies or interests.
Right.
It is supposed to be fun, whimsical, and entirely the groom's choice.
Because the bride usually goes full bridezilla, which Liz absolutely is doing, and controls the flowers, the venue, the dress, the napkins. So the groom's cake is supposed to be the one tiny sliver of the reception where the groom has total, undisputed control. It's his cake.
Exactly. So how does Liz handle this tradition?
She ruins it.
She weaponizes it. She takes it over completely. She turns it into a massive, dramatic production for the cameras about how she is surprising him with a cake that she designed based on what she thinks he should have.
It's so twisted.
She spends half the episode complaining about how tight money is, which, frankly, if money is tight, you do not buy a secondary novelty cake.
You do not.
But she insists on doing it anyway. Why?
Yeah.
To look like the benevolent, amazing fiancé on television.
And Brice clearly could not care less about the cake. He didn't want a cake surprise. He wanted his damn camo vest.
A vest is so much cheaper.
A vest would have been a fraction of the cost of a custom fondant cake, and it's what he actually verbally asked for. But Liz doesn't care what Brice wants. Liz cares about the performance of giving Brice what she thinks he should have.
We are back to performative benevolence. She wants the cameras to capture her, generously presenting this cake to him so she looks like the hero of the relationship, while simultaneously denying him the very basic, simple request he made for his own attire.
Control, dressed up as generosity. Put that on a pastel throw pillow in the studio immediately. That is the entire family ethos in 5 words.
I'll order the pillow right now.
Okay, before we move off the recap and get to the YouTube bombshells, we have to throw a little side shade at Jonah. Because his chaos in this episode was so bizarrely unhinged, I can't let it slide.
Jonah tearing the labels off generic dollar store hot sauce brands and trying to pass them off as his own artisan culinary creation.
Yeah.
It is pure grifter behavior.
It is totally giving. I added a dash of black pepper to a bottle of Tabasco. I am now a culinary genius. It is so embarrassing.
It's really hard to watch.
He is acting like he's about to pitch on Shark Tank when he's just committing minor copyright infringement in his parents' kitchen. But the real red flag with Jonah.
Oh, at the wedding prep.
Yes. During the wedding prep, he explicitly, seriously tells Brice not to aim the garter at him during the garter toss.
He is terrified of commitment.
Yeah.
He is actively dodging the symbolism of marriage.
Terrified. I am looking directly into the camera right now, and I'm speaking directly to Ashley. Ashley, if you are listening to this, rein.
Run fast.
Pack your bags, block his number, and run into the night. He is running around in a deer suit for TLC paychecks, scraping labels off generic hot sauce, and actively dodging a piece of lace so he doesn't have to propose to you.
It's absurd.
You are a beautiful, normal girl. You deserve better than this man-child.
The bar for Jonah is in hell, and he has brought a shovel to dig it deeper.
Literally.
Ashley seems so grounded, so normal. It is genuinely baffling why she is still tethered to this family dynamic. She is standing on the edge of the enmeshment pool, and she needs to back away before Amber drags her in.
Amen. Run, Ashley, run. Okay, we need to pivot. We need to talk about the YouTube bombshells.
Let's get into it.
Because while all this wedding drama is airing on TLC, Liz went and did an hour-long interview on that reality nightcap channel. And, babes, my head is still spinning from the revelations.
Let's lay out the facts as they were presented in the interview. First off, Liz officially revealed that she is 16 and a half weeks pregnant with baby number 2.
Wild.
She stated she is having a scheduled C-section on September 1st. And she noted that September 1st is actually her late grandfather, Poppy's birthday.
Which I will admit is very sweet. Having the baby on Poppy's birthday is a lovely tribute to Trent's dad. I will give her credit for that.
It is a nice tribute.
But the rest of the details she shared, wild. Let's talk about the symptoms, because she was very open about how brutal this pregnancy is.
Yeah, she was.
She said it's doing serious damage to her body. She was dealing with intense nausea, throwing up constantly from week 6 all the way to week 14. She contrasted it with her pregnancy with Leighton, which she said was an absolute breeze.
Just craving sweets with Leighton.
Right. But this time, she said she's just fighting to keep water down.
Sounds like hyperemesis, which is incredibly difficult. And they discussed the sibling dynamic. Leighton apparently wants a brother.
Ah, a brother.
But here's the hook, the classic Johnston twist.
Yeah.
Liz and Brice know the sex of the baby. They have the genetic testing results. But they are keeping it a complete lockdown secret from everyone.
Everyone.
The family doesn't know. The network doesn't know. Trent and Amber don't know. They are holding this information hostage until the moment of birth.
It is another power move. It is a control tactic. We have the secret, we hold the cards, and you all have to wait and bend to our timeline.
Exactly.
It is exactly what they did with Leighton. They didn't reveal Leighton was a girl to the public until she was born, because the gender reveal episode hadn't aired yet. It is all about maximizing the reveal, maximizing the attention.
It's pure PR.
But listen to me. We need to talk about how the family actually found out she was pregnant. We need to talk about the toilet reveal.
I genuinely wish I could scrub this specific anecdote from my brain. It haunts me.
I can't let you scrub it. We have to suffer together. So Liz is telling the story in the interview. She is at her parents' house, hanging out on the back porch, swinging little Leighton. Brice comes out and hands a positive pregnancy test, a stick that Liz has urinated on to little Leighton.
Why? Just why?
Leighton, who is a toddler, takes the pee stick and walks inside the house. Amber sees it and immediately goes, I knew it. Because, of
Okay.
course, Amber has to retroactively claim she already knew everything, so she maintains her status as the all-knowing matriarch.
Naturally.
But where is Trent? Trent is nowhere to be found. Why? Because Trent is in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet.
Oh, God.
And little Leighton walks the pee-soaked pregnancy test into the bathroom and hands it to her grandfather while he is actively using the toilet.
It is the most aggressively, quintessentially Johnston story I have ever heard in my life. It perfectly encapsulates the entire family structure. Zero boundaries, zero decorum, no privacy, just pure, unfiltered, chaotic enmeshment.
The lack of boundaries is staggering. Who hands a toddler a used pregnancy test? And Liz is just laughing about it in the interview. She's giggling, saying, oh, my dad was sitting there asking if the blue line means it's a boy while he is on the toilet. I cannot cope.
It's revolting.
But the real meat of this interview, the part that had me literally screaming at my phone screen in my kitchen, was her PR spin on the Anna situation.
The estrangement of Anna is the dark, heavy cloud hanging over this entire season. The interviewer finally did their job and asked Liz, point blank, are you and Anna speaking? What is going on?
And what does Liz do? She hits us with the most rehearsed, highly polished, Amber-approved PR nonsense I have ever heard.
Absolute nonsense.
She claims they aren't speaking, but she frames the entire estrangement as Anna's choice. She quotes her mother, saying, my mom put it well, we all have the choice to be on the show, and Anna chose not to be.
It's so manipulative.
She blamed social media, she blamed tabloids for blowing it out of proportion. She gave this condescending line about how there's always both sides of the story.
Oh, please.
And then she insists, Anna has a key to the house, we show up unannounced all the time, she's welcome anytime. But, you know, time heals wounds.
Let's do a deep critical analysis of the syntax of this spin because it is fascinating.
Break it down.
By repeatedly insisting that Anna chose not to be on the show, Liz is entirely absolving Amber, Trent, and herself of any responsibility for pushing Anna away.
100%.
She is painting Anna as the difficult, stubborn one who voluntarily alienated herself from this loving family. And that comment about having a key and showing up unannounced.
Yeah, what was that?
Liz presents that as an olive branch, but psychologically it's not. That is a reflection of their toxic enmeshment. Healthy, differentiated families respect privacy. They knock, they call ahead.
Right.
They don't celebrate showing up unannounced as the pinnacle of love and connection. To Anna, them showing up unannounced probably feels like a threat, not a comfort.
Exactly. It feels like an ambush. And I am passionately, loudly, fiercely defending Team Anna right now. I know we are supposed to be impartial observers sometimes, but I cannot be impartial here.
Nor should you be.
The hypocrisy of this family toward that girl is off the charts. They mistreated her for years. They marginalized her. They held her to a completely different, impossibly high standard compared to Emma and Alex.
But double standard is crazy.
And now that Anna has finally found the strength to set a boundary and step back to protect her own mental health, Liz is out here on YouTube acting like Anna is just throwing a tantrum and needs time.
So condescending.
No, Liz. Anna doesn't need time. She needs a massive, sincere apology. She stepped back from a deeply toxic environment, and I respect her so much for it.
Your passion is justified because the source material clearly shows the disparity. Anna is the classic scapegoat. We discussed this earlier.
We did.
No matter how successful Anna becomes, she buys her own house, she runs her own business, she is completely financially independent. The family will constantly try to force her back into that problem child box because the system requires a scapegoat to function.
They need someone to point fingers at.
If Anna isn't the problem, then Amber has to look at herself, and Amber is incapable of doing that. Anna stepping away and going no contact or low contact is the healthiest, most textbook recommended thing she could possibly do.
Say it louder for the people in the back. We want her back on our screens because she is the funniest, most genuine person on the show. But as human beings, we absolutely respect her for running for the hills. Because dealing with Amber Johnston seems like a full-time, unpaid job in crisis management.
Which naturally leads us to evaluate the core dynamic of this family.
Yeah.
If we step back and look at the whole picture, segment 1, favoritism or fair? Is there a clear favorite? The question of favoritism isn't even a question anymore. It is an established fact.
It is a blatant fact. It is painted in neon letters on the side of their house. The double standard between how Anna was treated versus how Emma and Alex are treated is almost criminal.
Let's review the evidence from the show one more time, specifically through the lens of conditional love.
Conditional love.
Amber and Trent's entire parenting philosophy for seasons was built on the rhetoric of tough love and independence. Anna was the test subject for this. She made typical teenage mistakes, and she was heavily penalized.
She was grounded constantly.
Now, we look at Emma and Alex. They are legal adults. They live at home. They take online classes. They do not work outside the home in any meaningful independent capacity. They are allowed to exist as completely sheltered entities with absolutely no demands placed on them to launch into the world.
They are completely insulated in bubble wrap. And it goes beyond just the logistics of living at home. It's the tone of voice. It's the way they're spoken to.
The cone is everything.
When Anna made a mistake, like being late or having a messy room, it was framed as a massive character flaw that required a sit-down family meeting and a lecture from Trent that lasted 4 business days.
A literal summit.
If Emma or Alex simply breathe oxygen, Amber praises them.
Yeah.
And let's bring up that fan theory again, because it is the only thing that makes sense. Emma and Alex are the fan favorites for the parents because they are the compliant cash cows keeping the TLC cameras rolling.
It's a symbiotic toxicity. The parents need the kids to film the show to maintain their lifestyle and income, so they coddle them to keep them compliant and at home. The kids enjoy the coddling and the ease of living rent-free, so they surrender their autonomy. It is a mutually beneficial transaction. Anna refused to participate in the transaction.
She wanted out.
She wanted genuine independence, not televised independence, so she was penalized. That isn't fair parenting. That is conditional love based entirely on compliance to a television production schedule.
Conditional love based on compliance. You are dropping absolute bars today.
Right.
It is so true. Emma and Alex are terrified to step out of line because they watched what happened to Anna for years.
They saw the consequences.
They saw the golden child status get revoked the second you push back, so they just smile, nod, take their online classes, and babysit Leighton. They are surviving the only way they know how.
And surviving under Amber requires accepting a massive amount of control. Which brings us to segment 2. We've talked about a lot of controlling moments today, from the bachelorette party to the tux fitting.
So many moments.
But if we want to isolate the single most controlling moment of the season, the moment that defines the entire psychological profile of this family, it has to be the dress fitting.
Oh my God. The wedding dress fitting. I had a visceral, full body, sweating, emotional reaction to this scene.
It was intense.
Liz is trying on her wedding dress. Amber is hovering. And the seamstress, a professional woman who handles thousands of dollars worth of delicate white fabric for a living, explicitly, politely tells Amber, please do not touch the wedding dress.
A very standard boundary.
It is a very normal, very clear, very standard boundary in a bridal shop. You don't get the oils from your hands on the white silk. And what does Amber do?
She just keeps touching it.
She looks at the seamstress and she literally reaches out and grabs the tool anyway.
Let's get deeply analytical about this specific micro moment because it is the skeleton key to understanding Amber Johnston.
Give it to me.
The wedding dress is just a metaphor. Amber physically, neurologically cannot respect a boundary. When an authority figure, or anyone for that matter, tells her no, her brain short-circuits.
It's like a glitch.
To Amber, a boundary is not a rule to keep a dress clean. It is a personal insult. It is a challenge to her supremacy. By reaching out and touching the dress immediately after being told not to, she is non-verbally communicating to the seamstress, to Liz, and to the cameras. Your rules do not apply to me.
I am the ultimate authority.
Exactly. It is a blatant, aggressive display of dominance disguised as motherly interest.
It is enraging. I was sitting on my couch screaming, get your hands off the tool, Amber. Respect the professional. But the terrifying part is how it trickles down.
Oh, the trickle-down effect is real.
It doesn't stop with Amber in the bridal shop. Liz is absorbing this and doing the exact same thing in her own life. Think about the scene where Liz aggressively snatches baby Leighton out of Brice's arms because she thinks he isn't holding the baby correctly.
Exactly. Let's connect the dots between those two scenes. Amber touches the dress she was told not to touch. Liz snatches the baby she should be co-parenting.
The parallel.
Liz's behavior is a direct, linear continuation of Amber's modeling. Liz has internalized the lesson that love equals total control. She doesn't trust Brice to hold his own daughter because in her enmeshed mind, if she isn't controlling the physical grip on the child, something catastrophic will happen.
Wow.
She cannot tolerate him parenting differently than she would. She is becoming Amber right before our eyes.
It is terrifying to watch. She snatches that baby with such unwarranted aggression. And Brice just lets his arms fall to his sides. He doesn't argue.
He just takes it.
He doesn't say, hey, I'm her dad, I've got her. He just looks at the floor and accepts that he is a secondary character in his own child's life. It is so incredibly dark.
Which brings us to segment 3. Who is breaking free? Who is actually going to make it out of this and who is stuck?
It is a great question to evaluate. Let's start with who is breaking free. I am cheering so hard for Anna. Anna is the absolute winner here. She is the only one who dared to formulate her own thoughts. She got pushed out. It was incredibly messy. It was painful, and I'm sure there are nights she cries about it, but she is now genuinely breaking free.
She really is.
She is living her own life, she is setting firm boundaries, and she's building her own chosen family. She even has Trent's sister, Heidi, as a mother figure now, because Amber alienated Trent's sister years ago.
Oh, the irony.
Anna found the normal people in the extended family who escaped Amber's orbit and aligned with them.
It is a brilliant survival strategy.
Yeah.
Anna recognized the toxic system, realized she could never win by playing by Amber's rules, and simply removed herself from the board.
Good for her.
That requires profound emotional growth and resilience. Now, what about Brice? Brice is an interesting case study in this dynamic.
Very interesting.
He's currently trapped, but he's showing massive flashing signs of wanting to break free. The dead eyes, the ignoring of her phone calls, the visible exhaustion when she berates him. Fans on the Reddit threads are literally forming prayer circles, hoping he gets a good lawyer, gets 50-50 custody of Leighton, and runs. He is at a breaking point.
I hope he snaps out of it.
I think he is slowly waking up to the reality that he didn't just marry a woman. He married into a cult of personality centered entirely around Amber, with Liz positioned as the heir apparent.
I pray he runs. I want him to get a great lawyer, get his 50-50 custody, buy himself a small house deep in the woods covered floor to ceiling in camo print, and just live in peace with his daughter.
The dream scenario.
But if Anna is free and Brice is waking up, who is permanently stuck?
The rest of the siblings.
Yeah.
Emma is profoundly stuck. She is the designated live-in babysitter taking online classes, completely stunted socially and academically.
And Alex.
Alex is stuck. A young man who needs his mother to negotiate his living arrangements with his girlfriend's parents is not a young man preparing for the rigors of adulthood. He's being kept in a state of suspended animation.
And Jonah. Let's not forget Jonah. Jonah is the absolute definition of stuck. He had a few moments in past seasons where it looked like he might rebel, where he moved out and tried to do his own thing.
Briefly, yes.
But now, he is fully, completely back in the fold. He is running around the woods in a giant deer inflatable suit so Trent can shoot paintballs at him for the TLC cameras. He's been reduced to a dancing monkey for the family brand.
It is tragic.
It is tragic to watch a grown man debase himself for his parents' approval and a reality TV check.
It is the classic golden cage. They are comfortable, they have their physical needs met, they have money from the show, but they have zero psychological autonomy.
Zero.
Which leads us to the ultimate question for you in segment 4. Would you survive this family? Be honest.
No.
If you were dropped into the Johnston household, could you live like this? Or you're running immediately?
Running. I am sprinting. I am packing a single duffel bag in the dead of night, slipping out the back window and running into the forest.
You wouldn't last a day.
I would not survive 48 hours in that house. The sheer, unyielding exhaustion of it. Having every single tiny interest critiqued. If I said I like the color blue, Amber would sit me down and give me a lecture about why the psychology of the color blue means I'm deeply depressed and need an intervention.
She totally would.
If I wanted a camo vest, I'd be called a redneck. If I loaded the dishwasher wrong, I'd be a failure. Every life choice, every meal, every hobby is controlled, monitored, and micromanaged. I would completely lose my mind.
You have to evaluate the severe psychological toll of that environment. Imagine waking up every single day in a house where direct, honest communication is punished.
That sounds like torture.
You cannot just walk into the kitchen and say, I want chicken for dinner.
Yeah.
You have to use, as the Reddit commenters brilliantly pointed out, reverse psychology, just to get your own mother to listen to you.
Oh my God, the reverse psychology.
If you want chicken, you have to preemptively convince Amber that cooking beef is a terrible, inefficient idea so that she can swoop in and suggest chicken, allowing her to feel like she won the interaction.
I am exhausted just hearing that.
That level of constant 4D chess manipulation just to secure a basic meal is exhausting to the human nervous system.
Yeah.
You would exist in a perpetual, unending state of fight or flight.
Yes, you would be in constant fight or flight. My cortisol levels are spiking just talking about it. And it makes me question the longevity of all this. Does this show even have a future?
That's the real question.
If the family dynamics are this consistently miserable, this dark, and this deeply hypocritical, how long can people actually watch? It used to be a fun, quirky family show about overcoming physical challenges and renovating a house. Now it feels like a psychological thriller where we are just sitting on our couches waiting for the hostages to escape.
The tone has unequivocally shifted. It has gone from a wholesome family documentary to a dark sociological study in generational trauma, enmeshment, and narcissism.
Yes.
The audience is shifting too. Viewers aren't watching to cheer the family on anymore. They're watching to analyze the dysfunction. It has become rage bait.
100% rage bait.
And while rage bait is a highly sustainable, profitable model for television networks, it is incredibly, irreparably damaging to the actual human beings living it out on screen.
I am openly hate watching it while taking frantic notes for my own therapy sessions. Babes, we have to wrap this up because I am fully in a nostalgia spiral right now.
We covered a lot of ground today.
This evening has been an absolute journey. We've covered family triggers, the absolute messy freedom of our college years, the gorgeous spring vibes in the studio desperately trying to counteract the Johnston darkness.
It is a lot to process in one sitting. The dichotomy of watching people remain hopelessly trapped on television while simultaneously remembering the exact liberating moment you broke free yourself. It brings up a lot of emotions.
It really does. So, Snark Squad, I'm asking you directly. Go to the comments, go to the DMs, tell us your stories. Did you move away for college or did you stay home?
Let us know.
And if you stayed home, did you have an Amber hovering over your shoulder, monitoring your every move? Do you see the blatant, undeniable favoritism between Emma, Alex, and Anna, too?
They definitely do.
And the ultimate question I need you to answer is watching this show therapy or is it trauma? Because I am heavily leaning towards trauma at this point.
It's basically exposure therapy. But before we go, a reminder to the Snark Squad. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Please do.
Send your submissions and theories to our inbox. Send this to your friend with family drama. They will feel so incredibly validated listening to this. Thank you to the Snark Squad for always showing up in the comments with the sharpest, most insightful theories. And I want to leave you with one final, deeply provocative thought to mull over until next time.
Ooh, hit me. What is it?
If Liz is fully, unapologetically embracing Amber's controlling, boundary-stomping parenting style right now, in real time, with Brice and little Leighton, what does that mean for baby number 2?
Oh, no.
This new baby is going to be born into a divided house, growing up entirely on camera in the peak of the social media age, with a mother who has learned from the absolute master how to manipulate a narrative and control an environment. What chance does that child realistically have to break the cycle?
Oh my God. Chills. I literally have chills. That is so dark, but it is so terrifyingly true. We are going to have to sit here and watch that generational trauma play out for the next 18 years. Take a deep breath, everyone. Drink your wine, protect your peace, stay shady, stay iconic, and we'll see you on the Snark side.